Hey friends, so Henry was going to the park to enter Ribsy into the big dog contest. And where we left off last time, a loudspeaker had just announced that it was time for all of the kids to bring their registration forms to the desk by the tennis courts. Come on, Ribsy! Henry found his way through the crowds of kids and dogs to the registration desk. There he waited in line to weigh Ribsy on a big scale. At first, Ribsy didn't want to be weighed, but Henry and a Boy Scout managed to shove him up on the scale and keep him still long enough to see that he weighed 28 pounds. Wow, you got a lot heavier in a year, said Henry. Maybe we shouldn't call you Ribsy anymore. After the dog was weighed, a lady gave Henry a yellow cardboard armband. It said, "Woofie's dog food. Woofies makes dogs woof for joy," printed on it. Below that there was a space for the kind of dog, the weight class, and the ring in which the dog was to be shown. The lady wrote on Henry's card, "Mixed breed, 25 to 40 pounds, ring 3. Henry led Ribsy toward a sign with ring 3 printed on it over by a flower bed. Ribsy stopped to shake himself, and then, before Henry knew what was happening, he dashed over to the flower bed and rolled in the dirt. "Hey, cut that out!" yelled Henry. "You're getting all dirty!" Oh, but it was too late. Henry pulled Ribsy, streaked with mud, out of the flowers. Henry tried to brush off the dirt. Then he tried to rub it off with his handkerchief. That only smeared it. Oh, he was discouraged. Why had he bragged so much about his dog? Now he'd never win a prize. When Henry reached ring 3, he saw it was made of rope tied to 4 stakes driven into the ground. Inside was a table piled with the prizes that Henry had read about. Henry looked at the silver trophy and thought it would look nice on his dresser. Not that he had a chance with a muddy dog. He noticed some of the boys had brought brushes and were brushing their dogs. Oh, he wished he had thought to bring a brush. The day was warm. Henry sat down on the grass with the rest of the boys and girls to wait for the judging to start. He kept trying to brush some of the dirt off Ribsy. In the ring next to his, he saw a snow-white dog. Somebody said it was a Siberian sled dog from Alaska. The dog's owner was brushing him and sprinkling white powder on him to make him look whiter. Henry had an idea. If he only had time, he could run home for a can of talcum powder to sprinkle on the white parts of Ribsy. That would cover up the dirt. Didn't matter about the yellow and black and brown parts. The dirt didn't show there so much. Just then, the voice boomed over the loudspeaker. We're going to postpone the judging for a little while because we have a real treat for all you kids. Maud, the trained mule, is going to entertain you." The kids all started toward the truck to see Maud. That is, all except for Henry. He wasn't interested in any trained mule. He wanted Ribsy to win a silver trophy. Here was his chance. He could run back home and back while Maud the mule performed. "Come on, Ribsy," he yelled. "We gotta step on it." Followed by Ribsy, he ran as fast as he could out of the park and up the hill to his house on Klickitat Street. He rushed into his room, snatched his hairbrush. He tore into the bathroom and grabbed a can of talcum powder. Then he rushed back to the park with Ribsy. The kids were still crowded around Maud, the dancing donkey. Henry was so hot and sticky, he had to sit down on the grass to catch his breath. Ribsy was panting and his tongue hung out. Henry brushed him with the hairbrush. he should have used a person's hairbrush on his dog. That helped a little. Then he sprinkled white powder on the big white spots on Ribsy's back. Henry was horrified. He could barely believe what he saw. The talcum powder wasn't white. It was pink. Who ever heard of a dog with pink spots? Quickly he tried to brush the powder off, but Ribsy was still damp, and the powder stuck to his wet fur. It didn't brush off. Henry decided to make all Ribsy's white parts pink, so at least they would match. Maybe in the bright sunshine the judges wouldn't notice. He sprinkled powder on Ribsy's white ear and left hind paw. He even sprinkled some pink powder on his white tail. Oh, yeah, Ribsy did look better with all his light parts matching. Maybe the judges would be wearing dark sunglasses and wouldn't notice. Maud, the dancing mule, finished her act, and the kids came back to the rings with their dogs. "Hey, look at the pink dog!" a little boy exclaimed. "I never heard of a pink dog," a girl said. "What kind is he?" "Aw, he's a mixed breed," said Henry. He put the talcum powder can in his pocket and decided not to say anything about it. Maybe the others would think he had some rare breed of dog. A man stood in the center of the ring. Henry noticed he was not wearing dark sunglasses. "All right," the man called. "Bring your dogs into the ring and march them around in a single file line." "Come on, Ribsy. They're going to start judging. You better behave yourself." Henry led Ribsy by the rope clothesline into the ring. The kids walked their dogs around in a circle. Ribsy's long rope tangled with the other dogs' leashes. Finally, the judge directed them to stop. "All right, now get your dogs ready," he ordered. Henry didn't know what that meant, so he looked around and watched the others. Some of them knelt by their dogs and made them stand still and look forward. That must be what the judge meant. Henry knelt down beside Ribsy. Ribsy sat down. He opened his mouth and let his long, pink tongue hang out. Ribsy was thirsty. "Come on, Ribs, stand up," begged Henry. "Be a good dog." Ribsy began to pant. "Aw, come on, get up." Ribsy now lay down in the grass and panted harder. Henry pulled and tugged on the rope leash. He looked over his shoulder at the judge. The judge was looking at the ears and teeth of a dog that was standing correctly. Then he ran his hands over the dog, and the dog didn't move. "Aw, come on, Ribsy," begged Henry. "It'll be our turn pretty soon." Ribsy closed his eyes. "Aw, come on, boy. I know you're thirsty. I'll get you a drink of water just as soon as I can." The loudspeaker made an announcement. "Can the Boy Scouts please bring pans of water to each ring?" Henry was relieved to see a Boy Scout coming with some water, but when Ribsy's turn came, he sniffed at the pan and refused to drink. "I guess he's used to his own water dish," explained Henry. "He doesn't want to use the same dish as the other dogs." "Well, I can't help it," said the Boy Scout. "It's the only one I got." Ribsy continued to pant. At last the judge came to Henry. "Well, well, a pink dog!" he exclaimed. "Yes, sir," said Henry. It was lucky his own green hair had grown out so he could get it cut off. A green-haired boy and a pale pink dog would have looked kind of weird. Come on, son. Stand your dog up. Henry boosted Ribsy to his feet. Ribsy tried to sit down again, but Henry held up his hind end by the tail. The judge looked at his ears and teeth. Then he ran his hands over him. He looked at his fingers afterward. They were pink. He said. When the judge had looked at all the dogs, he ordered each child to walk across the ring and back with his dog. Henry noticed that the boys and girls who knew about these things held the leash in their left hand. When his turn came, he held the clothesline in his left hand and started across the ring. Halfway across, Ribsy sat down to scratch behind his ear. Henry pulled at the rope. When he reached the other side of the ring and turned back, Ribsy turned the wrong way so that he went in front of Henry. And that's where we're going to stop today.